Hi, it's Miles Red Songbird. The Michelle Bird song with part two. Uh, excuse me. It's part two of Are You Sure, Dr. Shefali? Is that the name of it? I think that's the name of it. Yeah. She's the author of the book, The Awakened Family. I have some questions about her opinions. Okay, let me tell you about this book I just published on Amazon Kindle. It's called Conspiracies of God and Country. Universal deceit. Universal deceit. Everywhere you turn, there's deceit all over the universe. So I'm telling you about some of the universal deceits. Okay? And let's see what I just heard. Use your Will Wright. This is Will Wright. Sing Birdsong was Will Wright, my other father in a previous life. www. Bright. They used to call him Brother Wright in the church, and as a kid I called him Bright. Saying Brother Wright real fast. Bright. Bird song. Sing. Song. I listened to the bird song. That's the song I wrote. Song. I Believe in You. I did the words. Sing did the music. It's fantastic. It's a really heartfelt, close to the essence of creation song. It's a beautiful song. He did so great on it. He did the music in 10 minutes. He's amazing. He was Mozart. He was the Greek projection of the Greek electronic music genius Vangelis. He was George Gershwin, the jazz classical music composer genius. I was Ira Gershwin, his lyricist. He was Richard Rodgers. I was projecting Oscar Hammerstein Jr., who used to live down the street from us, as Singh pointed out, when we lived on Eldridge Street. And who else? He was a projection of Sly and the Family Stone. He projected himself as Sly and the Family Stone. He was Jimi Hendrix, the greatest instrumentalist in the history of rock music. And there you go. He was some kings too. Should I tell you? He was King Saul, King Arthur, King Menelaus, and King Charlemagne. So this is a giant you're looking at standing before you, Will Wright. Okay, Dr. Shefali criticizes, disparages his parents who have more than one child. She seems to think she is every mother, that she is the motherboard, the pattern. She thinks every mother is like her, have the same motives as her. As she went through her thinking about the kind of achievements her daughter would do, I found myself not at all a match for her. I hadn't thought that way about my daughter at all. And she was talking as if all mothers feel that way about their children. I'm dancing as fast as I can. It's a book by Jill Clayburgh that I could relate to, the title. I was so busy being the best mother and wife I could be. My mother told me I had to be the best. She didn't matter at whatever I chose to be, I had to be the best. So I chose to be a mother. So I was busy being the best mother and wife I could be. I was so busy dancing, being the best mother and wife I could be, except for smoking, to give myself a reason to breathe in and breathe out. I didn't have time to think of the results, what my children would turn out to be. I was so busy being present with them in the moment, I didn't have time to think of a distant future. I remember wanting Robin to be herself, to be authentic, to be her true self. Dr. Shefali says there is no self. I say if you are one with the eternal flame, the sun, God, you are not self. You are not separate. But as long as you are in an individual body with a brain in your head, with a free will conditioned though it is, as Charan Singh said. We have conditioned free will. We are a self. Socrates said, know thyself. If there was no self, why would he say that? He's the father of Western civilization, very smart, just as smart as Dr. Shefali. He had light just as she possibly has light. She did a lot of meditation. Yeah. I've been meditating since 1970. These past 5 years, now that my children are of age, I have been doing I said to myself, okay, it's my turn. If I'm going to die, I'm going to live for myself sometime before I die. So, these past 5 years, now that my children are of age, I've done my duty to them. I have been doing automatic writing for hours and hours at a time. I'm addicted to doing it. I've been doing talk and share with myself and with children and with God, Govinda Singh. Continuing meditation. I've been doing gratification exercises, doing affirmative affirmations. I've been listening to cell biologist Dr. Bruce Lipton and others, endeavoring to know myself. Yoga say, life is eternal vigilance and endeavor. The head of Surat Shabbat Yoga, Charan Singh, when he was Jesus Christ, now God, Govinda Singh, said, when asked, why do we live? He said, we live to learn to love ourselves. We live to learn to love ourselves. Once you learn to love yourselves, and because you've had different lives, you have different selves in you, you are content to be the content of your energy field. And you can use your willingness to go on breathing in and out and doing what comes naturally for eternity if you'd like. And if you know the alternative, you're real alive. Being alive in these human forms is the best deal going. Going decoded. God ordered the clit and the stick as sex pleasure into groundedness. Orgasm grounds you. It is a basis for life. One child in a family is lonely. Dr. Shefali has one child. Just as one parent in a family is lonely. Single parent households, they're not good. They're better than foster care, no doubt, but they're not good. It's better to be nice to your husband and keep him in your life than to run him or drive him away with bitching. People do unnatural things when they are lonely. Overeat, unwed sex, befriend people who are not good for almost nothing. God said, go forth and multiply. How can you multiply with only one self-definition? Dr. Shefali says there's no such thing as a self. Well, how can we define it? Let's read. To say you have no self, as Dr. Shefali said, this is my opinion, is to say you don't exist. Who was that sympathized with the terrorists, as Dr. Shefali did? It was herself. To label the energy of her choice. To say that you're not a self absolves one of responsibility. A world of irresponsible parents is chaos, hell. And that's what we're going through now. Parents don't want to parent. They want to be friends with their children. So their children are wild and insane and terrified. I remember this video with this girl said she was afraid of a guy's hat. Hat? You can't think to figure out that hat's not going to bother. What do you think, he's going to take it off and beat you about your face with it? You know, they can't think. These children are crazy. Self-definition. Because they have no parenting. They have no role models. They have no limits. Now, a person's essential, this is the definition for self. a person's essential being that distinguishes them from others, especially considered as the object of introspection or reflective action. Sentence. Excuse me. Our alienation from our true selves. That's why Socrates said, know yourself so you don't feel alienated from yourselves. Become friends with yourselves. I have to be friends with Socrates. He's a part of me. And Tesla. And Einstein. And Ayn Rand. And Mark Twain projection. And Robert Frost. And Emily Dickinson. And Etta Jones. And Ella Fitzgerald. And Sarah Vaughan. And Marian Anderson. And Emerson. And Charles Dickens. And Shakespeare. And all the other energies in me. Adjective was self. 1. Of a trimming or cover, of the same material and color as the rest of the item. Sentence. A dress with self-belt. Verb. Botany. Isn't that the study of plants? Botany. Self-pollinate. Self-fertilize. A variety that selves itself loses lots of vigor in the progeny. That's the children. They could not self itself, which means see itself in me, because they're egos. Are we doing North Carolina? Oh, well, let me tell you what we're talking about here. When I went to North Carolina to see God, Govinda Singh, that's me. But I didn't look like that then. I had been homeless, and I had hardly any teeth, but I still have hardly any teeth. And my clothes were shabby, and I looked poor, okay? And I went there to get a hug and a kiss from Govinda Singh because we have been in contact for over a year in my head, because she's seated behind my pineal gland in my brain. And so I could hear him talk to me, and he could hear me talk back to him. So we had this very, very close relationship. Mary Panama watched, and she followed it. She knew about this. This is a friend of mine who had also been homeless. So anyway, he came from India to the States, and I've managed to come up with the... Oh, Birdsong gave me the money. My first husband, Edwin Birdsong, gave me the money to take a bus to North Carolina to see him and to see my friends that I have known for 45 years, disciples of his. And so I figured, oh, this will be wonderful. I'll get this love. I've been homeless and on the street all these years and having no love, not having any familiar faces to hug. So just shrugs. So this was how it was. So when I went there, a variety that self itself it loses lots of vigor in the progeny. They could not self itself. That's incest, okay? Incest decoded. I see example of pleasure. Enter North Carolina energy. See cross. Okay, so I saw pleasure entering North Carolina, but what I saw when I got there was a cross to bear, a burden, because they snubbed me completely. Wouldn't talk to me, wouldn't make eye contact with me, wouldn't touch me. So it was my cross to bear, to be there alone. All these people I thought were going to give me love, and there I was alone in North Carolina until Govinda Singh came into the room, and then I was happy. Okay, so they could not see itself in me because their egos would not let them love me, embrace my point of view as a homeless, poor person. They presumed I was beneath a satsangi, a disciple of the perfect living master, Govinda Singh. The satsangi, they presumed, this is a disciple, another word for the disciple, they presumed was the world's best kept secret. The satsangi was better off than the rich, and of course better off than the poor and the middle class. They could not accept, the Sasagis could not accept actually being a poor, toothless, shabby dressed former beauty queen of the Sangat. If she can go that low, they thought, anybody can go that low. They presumed they were protected from going that low. They couldn't imagine going that low. They couldn't live with the shame of having become an ugly witch-looking creature. They can't question the master's competence for letting, or certainly not causing, this to happen. Competence decoded. See order. Michelle's master present pet energy, his pet energy, true Eve energy, enter North Carolina energy. So that was the master's pet energy. He didn't notice that she didn't have any teeth or that her clothes looked shabby. She was naked to him, pure, you see. Okay, let me read what I wrote. See order. Michelle's master presents pet energy, true energy, enter North Carolina energy, which he married and made a baby with that day. The god, Govinda Singh, was happy and content. He did not have to lock, he did have to lock the Sangat. That means the people in the room. All his 2 million disciples out of the ocean of bliss because of the bad behavior of a few satsangis. Daphne Nathanson, Norman Nathanson, Susan Nathanson, Suzanne Kissing, Nancy Monroe Bush Gross, Linda Zitelli, Manira Smith, Fountain Jones, and Karen Jones. Their hearts were too cold. They would drown the eternal flame, and life could not be rekindled again. They have started a pattern of abandoning one of the stars of heaven. She was a star of heaven. She was the daughter of the sun. Others would follow tomorrow or the next tomorrow. So to protect the eternal flame, it will stay the same. No more souls can gain entrance. All will have to stay down here and play the game. Entrance decoded. Energy enter Michelle and Angel Gabriel. True her angel. Oh, wait a minute. Energy enter. True her angel Michelle and Angel Gabriel. Enter North Carolina. Eternity. Okay? That energy eternity. That means he's married her and impregnated her. That's their energy of Michelle and Gabriel, because they are the daughter of the Son and the Son of the Son, Jesus Christ, God, Govinda Singh. Now, Fort Bragg, North Carolina, neighbors in Fayetteville, North Carolina. That's where all this happened, the snubbing and the marriage. The Satsangis lost their bragging rights the night and day. They were too ashamed to be proud of Christ's wife, who came to help them pass their final test, to make their getaway to the ocean of life. Excuse me. They were not willing to be nice and accept the right of Jesus Christ's wife to see him. She wasn't dressed well enough to share space with the most blessed people in the human race, they thought. That's what the Satsangis were thinking. They were the best people in the human race, and here she comes looking like a homeless person. How dare she? So and they had the finest taste in teeth and clothes, they supposed. Okay, so we know what happened. He married her. he married her and impregnated her. Okay. And she's still pregnant, waiting for the babies to come. And one of the babies, ironically, is Fountain Jones' mother, Evelyn Jones. And her name is Aria Elizabeth Michelle. Alright, so that's what I have to tell you about part 2 of Dr. Shefali's, Are You Sure? Okay, so...